Life writing is a really big topic. We are here to discuss life writing. So I met this guy at a bar the other night. So I met this guy at a bar the other night, and it turned out that he was from Boulder. And he was like, you know, in Boulder, we do this thing called authentic relating. Have you heard of it? And I was like, no, but I'm pretty sure I can guess. And he was like, well, in Boulder, we do this thing called authentic relating. And it just means that you take a moment to check in with your body. How you're doing right now in your body! And then you just express that to me fully, authentically, in movement and sound. Like if what I'm doing right now is making you uncomfortable, you can express that to me. And I was like, you mean like right now, here, at the bar? And he was like, yeah, right now, at the bar. And I was like, okay. Books are but trees that decided to take another form. What you see before you is a random selection of books that I stole from the house that I'm cat-sitting at. I will now attempt to compose a brief yet profound lecture on the topic at hand. A roster of history. I was a callow youth. Perhaps I worked out a few times, but also, no. They're repainting terrace ceilings and other surfaces damaged. My ostensible husband often tells me that I am a complete whore, but as it makes me happy to sleep around, he doesn't mind. We now have a clearer idea of what the shift from relation to unity entails. Relation disappears in one of two ways. It is either absorbed in being or dissolved in non-being. It disappears, but it is not transformed. Its effect upon the listener is in accordance with knowledge and evolution. For a self-satisfied person, there is no chance of progress. What is the color of the profane? The region of sadness I had just entered was as distinct from the region into which I had just hurled myself with such joy only a moment before, as in certain skies a band of pink is separated as though by a line of a band of green. Here I bring the personal part of my narrative to a close. One of the results of this way of thinking is that the problems of time and creation are relegated to the background. Suppose there were a place that we could go to learn the art of peace, a sort of a boot camp for us spiritual warriors. Henry read Clara's magazine and said he found the love stories and the lush advertisements much more interesting than the exposés. Weakness equals pests. People look at me and they think that person must really like to be looked at. I don't. I hate this. I hate this. I really hate this. I was in a taxi the other day with my friend Dixie, except it wasn't a taxi, it was an Uber. And Dixie said, you know, my boyfriend came to see your show and he's a misogynist, but anyway, what he said was, wow, she really likes to be looked at. And I understandably was horrified by this evaluation of my life's work. But also, I'm not a she, I'm a she, they, he. What? I'm confused. I'm very confused about being trapped in a body. I am but a collaboration between all the microbes in my gut and the small bird nesting in my bush. The self is a lie. It's right there, right in the middle of the word lie. I, baby. I. Why do we pretend that we're separate? Why do we pretend that we are single individuals instead of a vast interconnected network of mycelial? I'm gonna just close with a short email. Iris, yesterday I was sitting in a coffee shop. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit in this coffee shop and I'm gonna write. And I'm gonna write about trees. I'm not gonna write about me, I'm gonna write about trees. And then these two people came into the coffee shop and they were like, hey y'all, we're doing like a local tree pruning club. If anybody wants to come, it's gonna start in about 10 minutes around the corner. We are the tree people. I'm not kidding, this really happened in a coffee shop. It was a sign. The work doesn't happen sitting down at your laptop writing about the trees. The work happens getting up and joining the tree people. So I stopped my writing, or more accurately, my sitting and thinking about the possibility of writing. And I went and I joined the tree people. And I learned that there's these volunteer crews that go all around the city, and they're the ones that prune the trees because nobody else cares for the trees. The trees, standing alone in an urban environment, need so much more care than they would in the woods where they support each other and their branches grow entangled. And when they fall, they catch one another. And they feed each other and they share the resources and they communicate and they protect each other from the pests and the inclement weather. Here, they don't have any support structures, they don't get any help from their neighbors, and they're sick and they're vulnerable. And they get hit by trucks and stuff. So you have to prune them, otherwise they grow out of control. And then somebody comes along and chops them down. So basically, when you join these tree people, you acquire a new set of eyes. You go around and you see that all the trees really need to be pruned. It's like you're seeing them differently. You get this intense desire to prune. Like, it's kind of like plucking your eyebrows, like you go a little too far. Because everything needs more room to grow bigger and better when there's no one around to support them by being close. And it feels a lot like editing a manuscript, frankly. Just chopping off all the branching parts that have gone too far. Like, you know, you can put a lot in there, but not too much. And then once you start trimming in the right places, it feels so good, and you see the whole shape emerge, and you just want to see it more. You want to follow all the branching. So the tree people, they kept talking to me about how to make a healthy cut that would allow a tree to heal. But then they'd always correct themselves and they'd say, trees don't heal. Trees don't heal. They only seal. When you cut off a branch, they don't heal. They seal. And the wound is like a donut hole made of wrinkly skin. You've probably seen them around the city of sin. So trees are metaphors, but they're also real. And they do real things in the actual world. When there's trees in a neighborhood, it brings down violent crime, it improves the air. And there are movements all over this city, all over this country, all over this world to protect the trees that the governments and the corporations want to cut down. People are being arrested and murdered right now for sitting in trees, just for sitting in trees, because that is actually the greatest threat to this claim that undergirds everything, the myth that we are these separate individual lives, the myth that we are not like the trees. I'm almost done, I swear. From the introduction to the issue that we're here to celebrate, even respectable biologists these days have proposed that the term individual be retired, since our defining traits may actually emerge from the composition of intestinal flora and the decisions made in our gut. Unfortunately, the narratives we've inherited are inextricable from the crisis now threatening all life. We crawled out of the muck of a single-cell organisms and rose to the rank of dominant animal, making the world our own, only to set out on a path of species-level murder-suicide. This is the introduction to the issue that we're all here to celebrate. Rather than our nature, we might blame the extraordinary investment in a myth about our nature, crystallized in Carl Linnaeus' 18th century classification of Homo sapiens, which he described as exceptional among apes, for their ability to know thyself. The artists that I have invited tonight, well, these artists, they really wrestle with what it means to know thyself, what it means to be trapped in these ongoing fictions, and they relish what can happen when you actively get into the muck of writing and rewriting that fiction, what it means to know thyself when the self itself is so unstable.